I'm here with Adam Heet, a digital project specialist for Notre Dame School of Architecture. Adam works in the architecture library to help meet the special requirements of architecture students. And today he's brought us a 3D printed model of downtown South Bend in the 1920s, created for South Bend's 150th anniversary last year. Thank you so much for joining us for Notre Dame Day, Adam.
Happy to be here.
All right, so tell us about the project overall.
So the project overall was born out of a charge from our dean to give back to the city of South Bend. And what we wanted to do is really celebrate the historic architecture of South Bend. It really hit its high water mark around the late 1920s, mid-1920s, before stylistic choices started getting a bit modern, building facades started getting nice and flat. So it was really when, I would say, the history of South Bend in terms of its downtown architecture and its community hit its sweet spot.
Okay, so tell me how architecture students were involved in creating this, and I hear there's an app for this as well.
Yes, so we focused on downtown because we were able to get a lot of really gorgeous historic photographs from a lot of our contributors. And what our students were able to do is take these historic photographs, load them into our software. I instructed our students how to build our models digitally based on the photographs. So nothing that you see is conjecture, which is why you'll see some of the backs of our buildings are flat, but all the front of them are actually in full detail. We didn't want to invent what was going on with the buildings. We wanted to actually show what was literally verifiably there. Our students would then print them out, and then we'd go ahead and assemble them. We have since increased what we've modeled out of South Bend into Michigan. So all of those great storefronts that everybody remembers from their childhood that have grown up here in South Bend, we've got them all.
And there is so much detail on all these different buildings as well.
There is, like I say, right at the late 1920s, we really started creating these great little dormers, these great cornices, all these great little architectural elements that we just don't see anymore in current architecture, and that's what we wanted to preserve. None of this was made up. It all really existed. But what we've been able to get out of the project, in addition to the app, which you mentioned, which is freely downloadable in the App Store for students, visitors, tourists, to go down in South Bend, actually pull up these historic photographs as they're walking around, get then and now shots, a virtual model that they can spin around of each building, as well as just kind of an audio text of the history of the document. Is we've had developers that have been able to come in and say, oh, this is what that block used to look like. As this block is getting renovated in, say, the next 2, 3, 4 years, how can we go back to when we can verifiably say South Bend really was hitting its stride? What can we reference back in this detail? Is it the style of the architecture? Is it the density of where we have the buildings to really hit our stride again as a city?
So tell me, this is an incredible project. Where is the School of Architecture going from here? What other projects do you guys have planned?
We have other expansions with this project. We plan on taking a lot of the aspects of this project on the road, I suppose. We are currently in the midst of a project doing some of this work in the city of Rome, where we are doing 3D modeling, 3D scanning. Aspects that we're expanding into is more three-dimensional virtual models and kind of dipping our toes in the water of using VR with the Oculus headsets that are becoming fairly popular now. So you can actually come into the School of Architecture, walk in through the doors, go to the architecture library, and we have a kiosk set up right now where you can put the goggles on and literally walk down, I suppose I shouldn't say literally, virtually walk down through South Bend in the 20s, do the same thing in Rome, different decades.
All right, well, Adam, thanks again for joining us for Notre Dame Day.
Happy to be here. Thank you very much.